This is a really cool story. But they didn't report this monster with the hood shape. What they reported was large human-shaped figures with odd eyes and smelled like a sulfur, right? And I need to look and see. I'm so pumped up right now, man. I need to look and see. You guys are going to get mad at me. Type in the chat if anybody knows when the Roswell crash took place. Was that in 1955? I don't know, right? But also later in the Frametown monster was seen in Sutton, West Virginia, 1953. And Sutton is only 5 miles from Flatwoods. In fact, I think Griff said he was in Sutton. Yeah, Griff said I was in Sutton, West Virginia. Bigfoot centers over there. And this was called the Gasway monster. No, I'm sorry. The Frametown monster was also seen in Sutton, 5 miles from Flatwoods. A couple claimed they saw a huge metallic creature just like this one. One more time for the cheap seat.
10.
That's the wrong button there. Sorry, guys. One more time for the cheap seats. Glide across the road, right? They saw it slide across the road, but they didn't report any, other stuff that it was doing, right? Like it didn't make them sick or anything like that, right? Yes, Misty, sulfur smell. That's crazy, right? Now, you go down to also in Braxton County in around 1955, right? This is wild. Braxton County must be a hot spot, Griff. So I'm talking to Griff there. If you don't know Griff, everybody say hi to Griff in the chat. Residents near Gasway, again, Braxton County, reported encounters with a green monster that emitted a strange mist or odor. Some UFO researchers believe they were copycats, but the people in the locals swear that it was true, right? And then if you go down into, they have this event that took place between 1952 and 1955, all up and down, not all up and down, man, several places in the Appalachia. Was referred to, the 1952 was referred to the flap year, right? Because dozens of UFO sightings were reported in West Virginia, Kentucky, southeastern Ohio, which is a crazy hotbed for freaking dogmen and Bigfoots if you've never been down there, right? And they all paired with fireballs, glowing craft, strange beings. Now, some people believe that there's one more thing down here too that I need to point out, right? Several years later, 1966, you have the Mothman incident that took place, right, in West Virginia. And it led me to believe during my research when I was looking at this is that West Virginia has an eclectic breed of strangeness that goes on down there. From Bigfoot, Dogman, Hell Dogs, Sasquatch, the Braxton Monster. They got this thing called Sheep Squatch that I've never even knew that was a thing. I'm going to have to look into that now. And several other, wild things that took place in there. And don't even get me started about the paranormal stuff that goes on in like West Virginia. Now, I was always under the impression that the Mothman was a cryptid of some sort, right? But there are strong, I wouldn't call them arguments. I would say theories that to say the Mothman was actually some type of interdimensional, type of being, right? And he would fall more under the UFO category than the cryptid category as well. But I'm going to give you my theories on the good old Flatwoods monster right here. I'm going to give you my theories on this, right? To me. And you guys might not know it, but I'm kind of doing some nerdy stuff in my off time, right? This thing reminds me of a probe of some type from Star Wars. Some type of probe, right? Like the Empire Strikes Back, where the probes start going out. If you've never seen Star Wars, go watch that immediately after this, right? It's mandatory viewing to be on this channel. So that's what that looks like to me. And I have an interesting theory on that, right? The smell, the sulfur smell, right? The Appalachian mountain ranges are it's basically one big cave, right? And if you bear with me on here, I'm gonna do a kind of a U-turn, but I'm gonna bring this all together for you. The Appalachian mountain range this year was crowned the oldest mountain range on the planet ever. It runs from the eastern part of Canada all the way down to Georgia above ground. Below ground, they found caves that go down to Alabama, but I'm telling you, those caves go all the way out to Louisiana, and they go all the way out to the Gulf of America. I actually thought that the flooding that took place in Upper East Tennessee could have been waters coming through the Appalachian Mountain tunnels from the Gulf, but it wasn't salt water, so I don't really know. During the flood, it talks about Noah's building the ark out of gopher wood, and they'll try to tell you that gopher wood only grows in Florida. I actually believe it when they say that, and they'll try to say that that Noah built that ark in Florida. Maybe. But Florida wasn't where Florida was right now. I don't believe the earth is 6 billion years old. I think that when the flood took place, that we had one central round body of land. And the flood was so violent, the waters came up from the earth, out of the heavens. We had the younger dryas asteroids hitting us. We had what was called this thing called earth crustal displacement took place. That's why Antarctica appears to be flash frozen. That it actually ripped that continent apart, right? But the Appalachian mountain range was already formed, and when it shifted over, so yes, the ark was probably built from gopher wood out of Florida, except Florida wasn't where Florida is right now. After the flood, it was. That's how devastating the flood was. And again, no one's going to challenge me on this, because if you go, they've already found 2 miles down in Antarctica, they found, woolly mammoths with vegetation in their stomach, tropical environments. Antarctica it used to be tropical. It was flash frozen because within 6 hours or half a day, it got slung across the earth and was at the bottom of the world. And there's a black pyramid down there that's probably, that's a whole nother story. We'll get into that later. But now the Appalachian mountain range stayed intact and they slid over with the Americas. It's littered with caves, and I mean littered with caves. You have no idea the cave systems that run through North America. You have no idea unless you've been in those caves. If you're ever on 81, driving up and down, if you've never been on 81 before, guys, it's, it's primary way to go. I used to go up from Tennessee, Virginia, little bitty tip of West Virginia, and keep going up to Pennsylvania. Stop in some of them caverns and go in there and look at those caverns, man. They're pretty cool. Shenandoah, go look at those caverns. Now I'm bringing this all back around. Deep in those caves smells like sulfur. Deep in those caves, has that odor about it, right? Some Bigfoots are reported to smell like rotten eggs. Bigfoots, in my own opinion, in my research that I've done, in the interviews I've done, they live in the caves. They live in the cave systems, right? I think Bigfoots actually hibernate, and they that's why you don't see them sometimes. That's just my opinion. But they have a stink about them, right? They smell like sulfur because that's in the caves, right? So now these people are reporting seeing these things coming, appearing in West Virginia and having this sulfur about it, right? And when I did my research into the moon-eyed people that are in, south, eastern Ohio, East Tennessee, West Virginia, they basically describe them as how some of these people were describing them as, like these, big-eyed, gray things, right? The moon-eyed people, right? So I don't think this thing came from outer space. I know that there was this meteorite thing that took place, right? I can't really explain that, but it might have came from somewhere else along the Appalachian mountain range, and that's where it got where it was going. And for some reason, it was doing something in Braxton County for something right there. And that's the thing that gets me hung up on this, man. I can't put my mind around it. I can't wrap my mind around it. It's not a cryptid like I've ever heard. It's not an alien like I've ever heard. But I will say this, guys, and as I wrap things up around here, this story is freaking amazing. This world that we live on, we have no idea how great it is and how amazing of a place this is. The mysteries that we get to unravel and look into right now with all the truth that's taking place and going on in this world right now is amazing. So highly recommend going and doing your own research on this Flatwood monster.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.